Real quick before the video starts, just for those of you that care about the Rockets My NBA series, episodes are still going to come. Work has just been insane for me lately. I'm working on them, but they are coming. Just give me a little bit of patience. The Toronto Raptors have maybe one of my favorite young cores in the league. Maybe not one of the best when you compare them to teams like the Hawks with Trae Young, John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, and then you got the Pelicans who have Zion and Brandon Ingram. There's still a lot to like about this Raptors team though, even though they're not stacked with young talent and they don't really have a super clear direction right now. They still have a lot of guys that I like. Gary Trent Jr. is 22 years old. OG Anunoby, 24 years old. Precious Achiuwa, 22 years old. Scotty Barnes is 20, just freshly drafted, the 4th overall pick. And you still have solid veterans like Fred VanVleet, Goran Dragic for now. Pascal Siakam is considered a veteran, I guess. He's 27 years old now. And you still have Chris Boucher, who is cool. He's 28 years old, so he's not really, he's not really a young guy anymore. And I don't know if you'd consider him a veteran because he's only played 4 seasons and really only 1 full season. So they just have a nice little crop of young guys. I like Gary Trent a lot as a three-point shooter. He fell off a bit after going to the Raptors. He was a pretty high volume guy, shooting 7.5 per game with 39.397% for Portland, which is almost 40% basically. And then he dropped down to about 35% after going to the Raptors, which is a little below the league average, but I don't really consider that sustainable. One thing that you do wish that he would get better at would maybe be anything that's not a three-pointer. I mean, 58% of his shots were three-pointers with the Trailblazers, and in the 17 games that he played with the Raptors, it was at 47%. They definitely had him going to the rim a bit more. He shot pretty horribly. I mean, not horribly. 58% is below league average for sure, but it's not horrible. It's not something that you really gotta gripe on him about. Definitely want that to get better though. Same with the mid-range percentages. Between 10 and 16 feet, he shot 39%. We'll round up for him, and 16 to three-point range was 40%. Not abysmal percentages, but you want that to get better because he's an amazing three-point shooter, and I think he has the potential to be one of the highest volume three-point shooting guys in the league. I'm talking like catch and shoot from way out. He's also been taking more off the dribble threes and things like that. From what I've seen, they haven't gone in a whole lot, but if he can really add an off the dribble type game to his overall game, I think that's really going to open up offense, because if he's a threat off the bounce, that at rim shooting is going to be a lot easier. So I really like him. From 3 basically on 6 attempts. He's 78% from the line, 16 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.5 steals. This guy's good, and I have seen him take a bunch of step backs this preseason. He's really starting to add, Raptors fans, forgive me if he's been doing this beforehand, but he's really starting to add this off the dribble three-point game that really excites me. Because you've got him, you've got Scotty Barnes. That duo, it makes me so excited. Dude, OG Anunoby and Scotty Barnes, any team would be lucky to have this wing duo. They are going to be an absolute menace. OG is 6'7", 232. Scotty Barnes, 6'9", 227. The wingspans are great. The defensive potential for this duo is just so ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. And Scotty Barnes, his offensive game is definitely more raw than OG Anunoby. The shot, you're hoping it develops a little more than it is right now. Obviously, he's a rookie and he's 20 years old, so, we have a long way to go in terms of to see what he is actually going to be. But Florida State, he shot 27% from 3, which is not good. That was on 40 total attempts. His shot has looked all right in the preseason games that we've seen from him. The mechanics are a little clunky, a little weird, but if he just works on it, repetition, reps, all that kind of stuff, I really think his three-point shot is going to come along just fine. The big thing, obviously the defense, but the passing for me is surprising. There's a reason that people are, comparing him a little bit with like Kawhi Leonard potential. He's just this big, long, athletic wing who he can pass the ball. He's had some assist totals. I think he's had 7 assists in a game. He's had 8 assists in a game. He's had 6. I think he had 4 or 5 in a couple games. He moves the ball well. He finds guys well. And I'm excited to watch him and learn more about him because I'm not an expert on Scotty Barnes. But with this Raptors team, I most certainly want to become a Scotty Barnes expert because this guy is fun. OG is fun. Precious Achiuwa is fun. I'll never forget, as long as I live, Precious Achiuwa. I turn on the Raptors preseason game. I don't even remember who it was against. It was one of the first ones. And he grabs a rebound off the glass, dribbles it up the court himself, and does a snatchback into a mid-range jumper and drills it. And I was like, who is this? Is this Precious Achiuwa? Like, you had to be kidding me. I saw him take a few more mid-rangers. They didn't really go in. Last year, he did not shoot them well. Like, even a little bit. 33% from 10 to 16 feet. 3 to 10 feet is 36%. 16 to 3-point range, 16%. Those are not good numbers at all. He shot 0% from 3. I'm not sure how many he took, but it was not good. It was not good. If he can seriously become somebody who can have an off the dribble game as 6'8". Technically he's listed at power forward, but he's a center, really, if we're being honest here. If he can seriously add that to his game, that's going to be ridiculous. Imagine a lineup. Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., those guys, if Gary Trent Jr. can add an off the dribble game, those are 2 guys who are versatile, can shoot, can pass the ball a little bit. Then you got Scotty Barnes and OG Anunoby as the wing duo, who are just multi-position defender monsters who have, a lot of offensive potential, a lot of potential passing the ball, and obviously defensive potential is just through the roof. And then imagine having a versatile big in Precious Achiuwa who can create his own offense a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to be some go-to scorer, but can he seriously take centers off the dribble? Because he's really athletic. And some of the slower-footed guys in the league that might be guarding him, can he just drive by those guys for an easy layup? It makes me think. He only averaged 0.5 assists in Miami, and I imagine that he's going to be used a lot differently in Toronto than he was in Miami. So I'm just overall excited to watch this Raptors team, man. They might not win a ton of games. It's almost certain that they're not going to win a ton of games because the East is pretty deep. But I'm still going to have fun watching this team. They're going to be competitive every single night. And it's going to be fun this season. We'll see what happens with Goran Dragic. We'll see what happens with some of these other guys on the team. If they add another high draft pick this offseason and maybe, some guys in free agency, some veterans. This team, honestly, in a few years, I would not be surprised if they're right back in there competing in the playoffs, as a first, second round team with a super high ceiling because wings run the league nowadays. And if you have a bunch of versatile ones like OG and Scotty Barnes, what are you going to do? So that's just a little bit about what I like about these guys, what maybe they can improve on a little bit. I think it's just going to be fun, dude. It's like the Warriors that I was talking about last week. Watch the Raptors. The Raptors are fun. They're going to compete every night. They're going to play hard. It's just one of my League Pass teams, honestly. But that's all I got. If you guys enjoyed it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Y'all have a good one.